Become an ally. Rise above racism in healthcare.
You're watching Rogers TV, Grey County.
This program is brought to you by Ignite TV. Now you're in command. Visit Rogers.com for more details.
The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
Hi, and welcome to Politically Speaking. I'm David Shearman. My guest today is the Mayor of Kincardine, Ken Craig. And for those of you who are watching this in Kincardine, this is the first Politically Speaking for your Rogers TV station. Politically Speaking has been a part of the Owen Sound Rogers TV station for many years, and we're expanding into Kincardine. So hope you'll enjoy the conversation, and it will be a conversation here with your mayor and in the future shows, other local politicians. Kenneth, welcome. Good to have you here for Politically Speaking.
Hey, David, I'm glad to be here.
Now, this is not your first rodeo, so to speak. You have been in politics before?
I have. I was an one-issue candidate for a position on the Township of Kincardine Council in the late 90s, and discovered very quickly that the one issue that I had in mind in the big picture wasn't that big a picture at all. So I was served for 3 terms, and then came out for a time to be in a different career, and I was looking forward to my retirement in the spring of 2022 when I was convinced to consider running for the mayor of the municipality of Kincardine. Just a small clarification on that, like so many amalgamated places, we aren't just the town of Kincardine, we are the municipality. So I always like to include all the folks in our townships and the other small villages in our community. I ran in the election in the fall of 2022 and was successful. We have 6 new councillors around our table of 9 councillors that bring a lot of experience and wisdom and passion, and sometimes the challenge is to convince everybody that we can't fix all the world's problems in one 4-year term. We lay the foundation for the succeeding councils. But yeah, here we are, excited to work building up and supporting the municipality, and working with our neighbors in a great variety of endeavors.
And also, as the mayor, you're also on Bruce County Council as well.
I am. Myself and 7 other mayors. And it's really interesting, you think Bruce County would have all the same issues. We're a predominantly rural county, but the range of issues and the challenges that each of the mayors face, we certainly can't do a one size and one picture fits all applications. Certainly what Lakeshore communities face is different than what the Northern Peninsula faces, which is different than the inland communities. So, you spend a lot of time listening and trying to understand the challenges that each other is facing, and how do we work together to resolve this? Because, as you have commented before, Bruce County is a big place, doesn't have all that many people in it, but the expanse that we cover and the challenges are unique but different in each community.
Well, you having driven it, it is a long way from Point Clark to Tobermory.
Long way. the stories of travelers who come and stay in Kincardine and we're just going to whirl up to Tobermory for the afternoon. Long drive.
Indeed, indeed, and it's but it is for those of us who live in Grey County, and I'm sure, and I actually have a cottage in Bruce County. You have to love rocks, trees, and water in order to live in Grey Bruce. It's rocks, trees, and water, either all of those or even one of those.
Yeah, but David, there's so much more to Bruce County than that. People keep wondering why I don't go south for the winter, and I say I haven't seen all the great things in Bruce County, let alone Grey County and Huron County and around us. There's quaint rural communities that afford experiences that you'll find nowhere else in the world. So Bruce County is a great spot.
Absolutely. I fully agree with that. Now, you mentioned your 9 members of council. That includes you as well. So there's 8 plus you, or 9 councillors?
7 councillors, a deputy mayor, and myself.
So a total of 9. Okay. You've just made a big shift in the meeting structure of the council. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, the goal of every council, I think, David, is to be efficient and streamlined and to address the issues as they come to light. And our council recognized early on with the format that we had it had great historical roots, but it maybe wasn't keeping up to the modern day demands for decision making, the timelines required. And certainly with the introduction of some of the provincial guidelines saying, you have to finish this planning application in this amount of time, or finish that in another amount of time, we weren't able to maintain our historic schedule without putting undue stress on our staff. So we used to have a council meeting on the first week and the third week of the month. And then we had our planning meeting in between. So people always thought we had council, but we didn't. We had council meeting making, executive decisions. And then this next meeting was all about planning, reviewing zoning applications and doing some of that strategic visioning. And then the next week would be another council meeting again. So people who had applications for building permits, zoning bylaws, like if you didn't happen to get it in the right time, it'd be another month, just automatic, another month. So our council switched that around. We have 2 meetings per month. And at each meeting, we address everything. If there's planning applications, we look at them. If there's executive decisions, we look at that. If there's budget issues, we look at that. If there's visioning, we look at that. We have a quite varied and fast-moving council. It's like every council, you have to do your work, you have to do your research, ask the questions beforehand. There's time for passionate debate in the midst of every council meeting, of course, but we need to have inquired of staff, like, what does this mean? How does this fit into the big picture? How does this fit into our strategic initiatives? So the process, it's only been in place for a month now, but up to this point, it's been quite successful.
Sounds like you've realized that there's more work that has to be done, particularly around planning, which leads me to another question. What is the housing situation in the municipality of Kincardine? The government has laid out certain objectives, but you are also close to Bruce Power, which is an economic driver in all of Grey Bruce. What's the housing situation like to begin with?
The housing situation in the municipality is not significantly different from every other community that I have had conversations with, the mayors of other communities. There is a shortage of the variety of housing types that we need. There's still a predominance of single detached houses. And for, contractors or various people in different stages of their family or life or work, they can't afford, they don't want single detached house. They want someplace that's a little more transient or whatever. So Kincardine still encourages development in a variety of residential units, from townhomes to apartments to intentional rental units. There continues to be a challenge to engage everybody that's in the system. Sometimes for the developers, it seems pitifully slow from the time you think, I could really do something with this piece of property. There's a good place. We need to do this and this. And by the time the studies and the applications and the zonings, the permits and the fees and all that, it can be a quite slow process. And on the other hand, from the municipal perspective, sometimes it's a very slow process from when the developer is approved until there's actually somebody living in the residential unit. So there's, and I understand the challenges from the municipal side. I understand not all of the challenges from the development side, but certainly, those companies are in the business that's their business. That's their life's vocation. Some people say that you farm, if you don't love farming, you'd never do it. But on the development side, those companies don't build houses just because they like building houses. It's their business. So there's economics that drive their work as well.
Sure. Are there new subdivisions being built in Kincardine?
There are several subdivisions that are in various states of planning and construction. On our website, you can see that in the pipeline from when a developer walks in and says, I have this good idea, until right to the very end, there's 3,500 houses in the municipality of Kincardine in various stages of development. So right from the very infancy, right to the day before someone moves in. And that seems like a lot, but it's an extensive project, extensive timeline, so that some of those subdivisions, it's 10 years maybe from the time they start until there's actually somebody moves in, 10 years, 15 years or more. So there's certainly long-term plans. So I wouldn't get excited about a number like 3,500. I'm sure that other communities in the county have that many or more houses that are planned, but it's just a very long process. From the public perspective, I would think that it's very frustrating. That piece of property has been ready to build on for years. Why aren't they building? Well, it's a process. That unfortunately does not help somebody who's looking for a place to live. But certainly if there was nothing in the pipeline, it would be even longer. So
to be sure. Now, will the expansion at Bruce Power drive any of these housing developments, do you think?
The short answer is maybe, likely yes. Bruce Power has announced the initiative to start the pre-development phase. Like, there's been no approvals, there's been no sign-offs by anybody at this point. In the municipality, we believe that the Bruce Nuclear Power Development Site is the logical spot to put a large nuclear development. We're a willing host community. We have a population that is very, very supportive of the nuclear industry. If we assume that they are successful in their approval process, various numbers have been bantied around, 3,000, 4,000 more workers. So for the municipality of Kincardine, at this point, we host about between 25 and 30% of the workforce at Bruce Power. So if there's another 1,000 people working there that want to have their families in Kincardine, that's 3,000 more people, 4,000 more people. That's a lot of houses, but it's 20 years until the crunch really hits. We've got some time to plan.
So the role of council is not to think just on a 4-year horizon or a council term, but to think on a much longer horizon then.
Oh gosh, yes, you're right, David. It's, we set policies in place and envision what the municipality will look like in 20 years or 40 years or 50 years. The staff takes the policies, as you know, the staff takes the policies and implements the things that bring quality of life and make the municipality of Kincardine a desirable place to live. We have this great balance of lakeshore community, industrial development, and agriculture. Unique, distinct communities that live side by side very well. We've just learned to do that over what's it been 50 years since since Douglas Point started.
That's true. It's hard to believe that it is that long, but you're right. It is. You're right. Oh, and by the way, you've also got great bagpipes.
Yeah. Why, thank you. Is there a Shearman tartan?
No, because that name is actually English, but on my mother's side there is a Lamont tartan, and actually, according to one of my relatives who did all the genealogy, we are as a family entitled to wear the Royal Stuart.
The Stuart, okay.
The Royal Stuart. Yeah. So I'd
like to touch on the bagpipes, but we had to be pretty creative in the municipality this year to maintain our 100-year tradition of having a bagpipe parade on Saturday night. With the reconstruction of our downtown core, the infrastructure, the streets and infrastructure there, we had to create a new parade route for the pipe band to walk on. And it was successful in many regards. People got together and enjoyed the music, and we are certainly looking forward to next year when once again we'll march proudly down the Queen Street behind the pipe band parade. And I just want to put in a plug, actually, if I can. This is a unabashed plug for our downtown merchants who have been so accommodating. We've tried hard to make sure that everybody knows the businesses are still open and ready for business. And, I've appreciated our staff's persistence, and the Business Improvement Association and the Chamber of Commerce are working closely together to provide, as good an opportunity for tourists to come and enjoy our town this summer as we possibly could.
Sure. Well, it's actually been the first summer we've really had anything like we had pre-COVID, when you think about it. Because as I was saying to Mayor Boddy recently on the show, that all of the summer events that we have here in Owen Sound happened, and I'm sure the same is true in Kincardine. It felt like a normal summer almost.
Well, it felt a little abnormal from my perspective, because this is the first year as the mayor that I got in. I've always known that there were a bunch of things went on in Kincardine, the municipality here, but when you start getting invited to them all, and you don't have many Saturdays to yourself anymore, and you don't have some Sunday afternoons, and you don't have like the number of festivals and between music and culture and sports, and Owen Sound's not different, but for a smaller municipality, Kincardine has something for everybody. That's another unabashed plug for our municipalities.
You're allowed. This is Rogers TV. You can plug all you want. We don't charge you for commercials.
Right on.
But I think you're well on point, and I've heard this said from by other elected politicians that you're very, very busy. Um, as one politician put it to me, you have to be out and about. You have to be seen, because people want to see you. And as mayor, this is when they'll bend your ear. This is when they'll have a word.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. I went to one function where I was asked to bring some greetings from the municipality, and following there was a very kind gentleman came along and said, when you come to this, you should wear every robe and hat and garb and scepter that you possibly have, because people don't want to see you, they want to see the mayor. So unfortunately, I do not have any robes or hats or scepters that go with this job. But, I appreciated that comment, because if the mayor and the municipal council can bring some, call it stability or calm or just assurance that the political leadership of your community is working together progressively. We have a plan in place, long term, but that provides opportunity for shifting on the go. But when people see the political leadership working well, it provides just a sense of, okay, we're all right. We'll get through this. We don't have all the answers, but we at least have a council and staff working on our behalf to provide places for us to live and grow and prosper. That's our desire.
Well, speaking of concerns and stuff that happens, one of the things that I noticed over the summer is that there was a very tragic drowning off the Kincardine Pier, and there's been back and forth about what should be done. What's the current situation about the Kincardine Pier? I believe there are barricades that are erected to try and keep people off the pier, but will those be made permanent?
Well, as a community, we're always saddened when someone loses a life when they come to Kincardine for the enjoyment of the lakeshore. Like it breaks our heart. The piers, out of respect, were closed for a period through the summer. They have been reopened at this point. The warning signs are still in place there, advising people of the rip currents and the structures that make that particular piece of shoreline one of the top 3 places in Canada for surfing. Also makes it like a candidate for dangerous tides. Like without the piers, there would be no waves. Without the piers, there'd be no riptide. So it's the best of situation and the worst of the situation, both at the same time. Council recently approved the formation of an ad hoc committee, a short-term committee, comprised of first responders, shoreline professionals, user groups, community members, to sit down and bring some science-based recommendations to our council to say, these are the best practices that we have seen other communities do. It is a project that, though our staff could do it, we need to invest more time and, a broader casting of the net, so to speak, to get some of those scientifically based resolutions or options to warn people. It is not our desire to close the pier. It's a part of our culture and our community here, as it is in so many other lakeshore communities. We will listen. I think they're bringing their report back at the start of the new year. February, I think, is the time for the report. and council will be able to include any recommendations in the 2024 budget and the summer season going ahead, David.
Sure. Well, that makes sense because I don't think people realize that rip currents are a phenomenon all up and down the Huron shore. I'm well aware that they are a risk at Sauble Beach, and there have been people who have died from being caught in those rip currents. But it's a serious issue, and I'm glad to hear that you're studying it from a scientific point of view and an evidence point of view, because that way, Paul, the loss of a citizen or a child is obviously very sad. At least going forward, you'll know exactly what the reasons are and what can be done to mitigate the risk.
Unfortunately, in the midst of all of this, there will always be someone who will choose to do dangerous things, whether it's driving a car, jumping off a pier. We are not immune from dangerous situations, and any municipality can do the best we can do. And we will provide every safety measure that is, within the recommendations. We'll try to be wise about all this. Is it inevitably going to stop every dangerous situation? No, can't. But we will do our best.
Yeah, and that's all that you can be asked to do. That's all you can be asked to do. Very briefly, because we've got about 3 minutes. Did you get to AMO this year?
I did. It was a great conference in London. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And what was the highlight of AMO for you?
Well, the highlight of AMO, though there are many excellent speakers and you get opportunity to hear the ministers, the highlights are when you have the delegations with the particular ministers. We were fortunate to speak with the Minister of Agriculture, Rural Affairs, Lisa Thompson, and also the Minister of Skills and Labor Development, his parliamentary assistant. And, when you do a skillful job of advocating for your community, and you get a phone call a week later, 2 weeks later, and somebody says, yeah, we remember that conversation, and how about this? Can we do this to work together with you? So it's there were big name speakers there, and Premier Ford was there, and you meet a lot of nice people, but those conversations with the parliamentary assistants and the chief of staff and those connections should make ultimately will be the connections that bring positive change to your community infrastructure dollars. And just in kind of wrapping up, everybody wants houses and everybody wants good sewers and water, but they don't want change.
And on that note, I want to say thank you for the conversation, because it's a pleasure to have you as the mayor of the municipality of Kincardine to be a part of Politically Speaking, and I'm sure we will have you back on, and I'm sure, like I say to my viewers, we'll talk again. So thank you, and thank you, friends, for being a part of Politically Speaking Kincardine. I'm David Shearman, and yes, we'll talk again.
This is Rogers TV,